Hi, it's me, your boyfriend slash girlfriend slash day friends, favorite content creator. And do you remember when I made that video about conspiracy theories? If you don't, um, literally I made it yesterday, but depending on when you watch this video, that doesn't matter. The reason why I bring this up is because in that video, I talked about how the truth doesn't matter and lying is OP, and you can just sort of make shit up. Do you guys know who ProZD or ProZD or ProZod is? If you don't, he is a voice actor and actor. He has been in many games, including Borderlands 4, right? He also does like anime. He was actually in K-pop Demon Hunters. I don't know why I am doing this. I'm not getting paid for this. I'm just giving you background information. Anyways, for as long as I can remember, there has been this like stink around him because of something he supposedly said. Something along the lines of how voice actors should go out for roles that match their ethnicities, right? That if you have basically if you're a black person, you should be able to voice black characters. If you're an Asian person, Asian characters, etc., etc. And that has taken off to the point where a lot of the harassment he got on Twitter stemmed from that fact, to the point where he's, left Twitter like most sane people. Not me, of course, I'm insane, but most sane people have gone. And the thing about this is, it's not what he said. Like, he didn't say that. The thing people online are mad at him for is something he quite literally didn't say. Now, because it's the internet, there are a lot of different interpretations of what he said. But as far as I can tell, and granted, according to some people, some of the information's been deleted from the internet, but I found this really seems pretty intensive thread on Twitter detailing this. And as far as anyone can tell, all he said that was even tangentially close to that was an interview on Double Toasted, where he was asked about the fact that now that he is stepping into live acting, has he noticed that like him being Asian has somehow been like a detriment? Like if he was a white person, would he get more opportunities? To which he responded like, yeah, he's absolutely noticed that his race does play a role in that.
A couple of things before we go. You being an Asian, actor, voice actor, not actor. Everybody talks about diversity, and I'm not here to be too controversial or point fingers or anything like that. But speaking of diversity, and you now starting to venture out into live action acting, how do you feel about? I guess you being, again being Asian, do you feel like your opportunities are limited? Or do you feel like more opportunities would be open to you if you were, a white male, being by what you've seen so far?
I definitely would have more opportunities if I were white, for sure. There's no doubt about that. But I think there have been changes in a positive way, and not just for Asians, but for all for different races, different genders. There have been steps, and it has been improving. I mean, even comparing now to let's say 5-10 years ago, it's definitely changed. Like, I think studios are much more aware of, hey, we should cast authentically. So there have been some good steps. We still have a long way to go. And I'm just hoping that, as time goes on, more and more doors will open for, diverse talent. And we still have a long way to go though, but
Yeah.
I'm hopeful that, it'll continue to get better as time goes on.
And the only thing I can see from that is him telling you guys like, yeah, there's racism when it comes to casting in Hollywood. Surprise, surprise. Guess what? People in Hollywood also do drugs. And also, sometimes people in Hollywood aren't nice. Like, I don't know what other secrets to tell you, but I then saw in that same thread a quote that was attributed to him that came from no other, sorry, I should say none other than Rev Says Desu. Yes, that person. Apparently, he is like the origin for like all of this shit. Like all of these tweets and posts are coming from him. And I'm just like, of course it's from him. Of course it's from him, because he is a awful, terrible human being who's a fucking loser, who has to do loser shit. But like, he right now has a video talking about the fact that ProZD left Twitter, because that's big news for some reason. And on the screenshot, he has a picture of him, of ProZD, from the interview that he had with Double Toasted. On that screen is a quote that he didn't say, right? Like, I don't know what else to say about that. Like, they're wholesale making shit up.
The last part is referring to what they believe are insensitive comments she was making about the situation, referring to Wendy Lee. But as you can see, the first part is making it very clear. He's implying that the recast, that Wendy Lee getting her role back, was already unacceptable. And reading between the lines in his support of authentic casting, the only explanation is that he thought she shouldn't play that role because her skin color didn't match up with the character. And this is something he made very clear in an interview around that time.
Do you feel like your opportunities are limited? Do you feel like more opportunities would be open to you if you were, a white male, being by what you've seen so far?
I definitely would have more opportunities if I were white, for sure. There's no doubt about that. I mean, even comparing now to like, let's say like 5-10 years ago, it's definitely changed. Like, I think studios are much more aware of, hey, we should, cast authentically, so there have been some good steps. We still have a long way to go.
Again, it's editing me. I know you guys saw that clip. I know you saw the clip of what I put in my video, which is the entirety of the clip between the Double Toasted host and ProZD, and how the context was talking about live action, like in front of the camera, like I stated. And notice how Rev has to lie. Look at the deception he employed there. He first primes you by saying that, hey, this is about the Wendy Lee recasting, and he's going to assume that what ProZD meant was Wendy Lee being recasted. She shouldn't have been because she's not the same color as Yorichi, which is not at all what he even hinted at. But then he goes on to play the clip that I showed early in my video, because full disclosure, I didn't fucking watch Red's video. I feel like I needed to, but I'm glad I did. It highlights my point perfectly for me. He shows it. You can tell that he's lying because using the same clip I showed you earlier, he's reframed that and re-edited it to make it seem as if they are specifically talking about voice actors and how they should be the same skin color as the character they're voicing. So again, just to show you guys that these people have to lie to you in order to, make their content. Okay, and then we'll let past me keep it going. You handsome man, you. But here's the thing too. Let's say that, for the sake of argument, ProZD did say that. Let's say that he did say, yeah, you should do that. Of all the people to try to nail someone off of something they might have said either in a video or a tweet, Rev, you are going to be Rev. Everyone uses your tweet anytime the president does something completely stupid that fucks over everyone. How are those egg prices, Rev? How's the housing market? How are the tariffs going? Like, if there's any person who should not be doing that, it's Rev. But even if ProZD said that, okay, that was like just like his opinion, man, and it doesn't ultimately do anything. But the shittiest part is he didn't say that. In fact, there's other videos showing how he's very happy that there are more auditions for open auditions where the race of the person is very prominent, talking about how, you know, diversity is important. And talking just not me, not interpreting what he said. Yes, let's be real for a second, okay? Especially if we're, even though what he was talking about wasn't specific to voice acting, got misconstrued that way because of Rev and people like him. Let's not act as if the voice acting industry was super open to people of all races, okay? Hell, same thing happened in Hollywood, it's happening in voice acting, because acting is acting. It's the same kind of beast. There was a lot of racism there. You had a bunch of white people being the voice cast of literally everything, right? And it's only recently, I would say really in the last like maybe 10, 12-ish years, that we've gotten different people in the booths. We've got more diversity in comes to voice acting, and that's been a net benefit. Bleach 1,000 Year Blood War arc. They had their I'm not because I've never watched the show. And in Bleach, the 1,000 Year Blood War arc, there is a black character named Uetsu Nimaya, right? He is very visibly black. And so when I heard him in dub, yeah, that's right, I watch animes dubbed too. When I heard him in dubbed, I was like, oh, that's a nigga. That is a black person. That is a black person. And you could feel the authenticity when he was like, shit.
So what did you guys think of that banging opening number of mine? Pretty dope, wasn't it? As you saw earlier were in fact Zanpak To. Shit, you're supposed to be soul reapers. You can't even tell a Zanpak To when you see one?
Like that was, I know people are so, oh, it doesn't matter, but that matters. It feels good, okay? It feels good and nice. There is a level of authenticity that you get when you cast people who are either from that culture or like, whether it's race or, you know, the region or whatever, it brings them authenticity. But because of people like Rev, who have to make shit up, who have to constantly get people upset, he was getting harassed for some shit he ain't even do. Like, and this is not me trying to defend him from all criticism, because I haven't seen all of his stuff, all he said, right? But from this example, it's insane to me that people are still trying to give him shit when he ultimately was asked a question about, hey, now that you're doing, you know, in front of the camera acting, have you faced any issues? And he's like, yeah. And the guy brought up race, and then ProZD was like, yeah, me being Asian has limited my options, right? Because of course it has. It's Hollywood. Like, again, I held a whole video talking about conspiracy theories and how conspiracy theorists have warped people's brains. And you have these people who are trying to act as if his experience is like made up, and the real thing is he just wants white people to not be able to do voice acting anymore, which is legitimately insane. But it's, man, like, we have gotten to a point where, again, people on the internet will go and lie and just keep repeating lies, and that just becomes the truth. And then this just chases someone around for like fucking forever. And I just like, when are we going to be better than this? When are we going to be able to like do our own research in a good way and actually find out what someone said? Like, it's insane. And to like really like highlight this, like, here's a post that I found of his. Someone named Legacy Killer wrote, ProZD blocked me when I called his takeout, and how now every fucking show is recasting problematic castings, whether it be Khan and King of the Hill or Apu and The Simpsons. Absolutely find it stupid and harmful this authentic casting BS was ever pushed. And to that I say, you're a moron, because it was problematic. Like, that's the thing too, I hate. People act like things were just okay because they were fine with it, they liked it, but there was inherently problematic things. Like, if there was a white person who played a black person and they did blackface, and they had done blackface for like 15 years, and the show came out in like the 70s, and then when they reboot the show, they just cast an actual black person, would you be like, man, that's fucked up, they should have casted a white guy to put blackface on? Like, and so then ProZD's wrote this, not in response to what he said, but that's what Michael was applying to. He wrote, I got an audition for a prominent cartoon where I was sent just the Asian character. Looking through the rest, I told my agent, hey, I'm happy to read for this, but can I read for some of these others? To which I was told all of those characters are drawn as white, so no. To add extra insult to injury, the character I got sent was labeled Middle Eastern, Southeast, or Southeast Asian because, you know, that's all the same, right? You can just lump them onto one. My agent told me that is just how some major studios are doing things now. Naysayers will go, oh, you don't want authentic casting? If your entire main cast is all white and you have one token side character who can apparently just be any type of Asian ever, this is not a level playing field. This is not new. For another show recently with a large cast of characters, I was only sent the audition sides for the character who exclusively speaks Mandarin. I don't speak Mandarin. It's demoralizing, and as much as I love voiceovers, the future looks bleaker every day. To be clear, this was not my agent's decision. They have sent me plenty of white characters before and have been nothing but supportive. This is what they were told by the people in charge of casting that show. So again, yes, there is still issues in the voice acting world. On top of like AI threatening to ruin people's jobs by, you know, using their voice without permission to do other projects, right? You still have to deal with discrimination. Like I said earlier, the voice acting industry has not been this place of rainbows and sunshine. There's discrimination there. I mean, think of it this way. White actors for the longest time had almost no limits on what they could voice. You had white people voicing black people. You had white people doing Asian people. You had all this stuff, right? And it wasn't accepted widely until recent to have other races do other voices. Yes, I know you could think of prominent examples in your past, like Phil Lamar doing Samurai Jack and all those things too, right? But those are essentially one-offs. The vast majority of voice acting was white people doing everything. And again, all of this is because he was asked a question and people just never let it go. Because people online are permanently angry to the point where they can just make up shit about you to be angry about and people would just believe it. He never said those things. The things that Rev and everyone's accusing of him saying, he never said. He was talking about live action. Like, I don't know what else to say, man. Like, it's just like we are living in a weird time where something as innocuous as, yeah, I face issues being a minority trying to get cast in things is blown out of proportion to become only the minority should voice everyone and white people should get nothing. Like, that's insane. That's insane to me.